It doesn't matter if you're for Assad or you're against him. ISIS is your enemy. No, what it shows is, and he's very clever to do that. It's very clever to say, you know, we don't need to worry about Assad. We need to understand that the real enemy is ISIS. Because when he's saying that, he's pointing out that the United States and Europe are not opposing the real enemy. And this is something that has been going on for quite some time. Take a look. Going back to July of this year, we had an article on INFOWARS.com. New evidence revealed the Turkish government was directly funding ISIS. And they pointed out that the oil that was flowing between ISIS and Turkey was tremendous amount of money that was going between $1 and $4 million per day. And when they came after Abu Saif at that period of time, they obtained a lot of flash drives and documents were seized showing that there were clear links between Turkey and ISIS. Today, Putin at the G20 meeting pointed out that there are 40 countries, including, he said, very obliquely, G20 members. He said, I provided examples based on our data on the financing of different Islamic State units by private individuals. The money, as we have established, comes from 40 countries. There are some G20 members among them. So he's not naming names, but he goes on to say, we need to have support from the U.S., from European nations, from Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Iran to oppose ISIS, and we're not getting that support. And we all know that those nations are supporting ISIS. They're not supporting the fight against ISIS. They are supporting ISIS. We know this from the documents in Turkey. You can see if you look at the map, the territories that ISIS holds, those are flowing down from Turkey down into Syria. That's what the real struggle is. And yet they will not admit that that's what the real struggle is. At that meeting, the head of the European unions, the chief diplomat at that meeting, Federica Mogherini, said, let me underline that the profile of the terrorists so far identified tells us that this is an internal threat. We have to solve this by coming together and creating a global solution. And the global solution that they're going to come up with on the ruins of Paris is going to be this climate change accord. That is where they construct the new world government. Stay with us. When we come back, we're going to have reports from our reporters in Paris. We'll be right back.
Dr. Group joins us for the balance of this hour to talk about solutions. We have them up every couple of weeks. We have been trying to launch this for the last year. We got all of the organic ingredients to do it. And we've come out with a new Living Defense Harmful Organism Cleansing dietary supplement, and it is extremely affordable. It is brimming with the capsules. And the way I read the facts, this could do a cleanse for really a family of 4 or 5 people. Dr. Group, let's just get into the product now and then into parasites themselves, what folks really want to hear about in the next segment. But thank you for developing this for InfoWarsLife.com. Tell us about Living Defense and why it's so special.
Well, it's really special because it's part of the problem that we're dealing with today. When the earth becomes sick and the earth soils become acidic and the internal bodies become acidic because of all the toxic food in the air and the beverages that people are consuming, it sets up an environment that's ripe for harmful organisms to live, either on the earth. That's why a lot of the plants are infested with harmful organisms, or inside the body. And years ago, we linked every single disease process to an overgrowth of organisms in the body. And when people hear the word parasite, which the FDA does not like us to use, they actually came down on us and made us take the word parasite off everywhere, because we were exposing what the globalists have been doing, spreading these parasites and creating this environment, which is great for them to live in for years and years and years, because they know they drain us of energy, they make us sick. So we had to actually change the word parasite to harmful organism. And when we talk about harmful organisms, it's the definition, actually, the medical definition of parasite is any harmful organism that lives off of a host mechanism. Most people just think parasites are worms, but harmful organisms are bacteria, viruses that you can get through flu shots, funguses, yeast. We literally have an epidemic going on right now with molds and fungus and yeast living in everybody's body.
This is something that I heard about over a decade ago. I didn't really believe. I did one of these cleanses or invasive organism or harmful organism cleanses. It really hurt a lot, but it did do a lot. With this was not painful like some other cleanses I've done. The product is available at InfoWarsLife.com. I've always read and heard that just one of the ingredients, black walnuts, is really good at flushing parasites, and that, animals out in the fields eat them and stuff to naturally do this. We do cleanses on our dogs, our cats, our horses, our cows. Why not us?
Well, because they don't want you to know about that you need to do a parasite or a harmful organism cleanse. That's the thing. It's so secretive. And when we were doing our research into the root cause of every single disease, there's been plenty of proof.
The statistics are clear. 9 out of 10 people are infested with harmful organisms like parasites. Parasites can be transmitted by people, pets, food, and the environment, and so many other sources. Once parasites have made it inside your body, they steal your nutrients and release toxic waste. They use the bathroom inside of you. It's time to start eliminating toxic and harmful organisms from your body. Introducing Living Defense, the new harmful organism cleanser by InfoWarsLife.com. Living Defense uses wild-crafted organic herbs to help naturally cleanse harmful organisms from the body. We are expected to sell out of this very, very quickly. This is our limited first-time run. So visit InfoWarsLife.com today to try Living Defense today while supplies last.
Joe Biggs here with InfoWars.com. Now we're standing right down the street from the Bataclan Theater where Friday a terrorist attack took place, taking the lives over 100 people and injuring over 300. And as you can see, they have this area behind me blocked off. There's been a memorial set up. Now today, the French Interior Minister says police raided 168 locations last night across the country. French police conducted the raids overnight as authorities released the names of 2 more potential suicide bombers involved in the Paris attack, one born in Syria, the other a Frenchman wanted as part of a terrorism investigation. Now the raids came as the hunt continued for members of the sleeper cell that carried out last Friday's gun and bomb attacks right behind me here at the Bataclan Theater. The French Prime Minister Manuel Valls said, Monday, we are at war. Now, in those raids, the mastermind behind the Paris attacks has been identified as active ISIS executioner from Belgium. Investigators have identified the alleged sponsor and mastermind of Friday's massacre in Paris. He had direct contact with the terrorists and a media report. The suspect is believed to be a Belgian national and an active Islamic State executioner in Syria. His name is Abdelhamid Aboud. He was 27 years old. He financed and organized the attacks and the explosions in the French capital. The report adds that the butcher of the Islamic State group had carried out several grisly executions. And if you want, here is a picture of him right there. Now, he is said to be from Brussels area, and that's where a lot of the raids were going on as well. Over the night and through the weekend. We'll keep you updated as information comes to us. Stay tuned for more reports at Infowars.com. I'm Joe Biggs. Joe Biggs here with Infowars.com. Now we're standing outside of the Bataclan Theater where the attacks took place this past Friday. We know that over 100 people were killed and over 350 or so were wounded. Now, this is one of the smaller memorials outside of the theater, and there are thousands of people gathered out here today, lighting candles, bringing flowers out to this memorial that has been staged up over here. Now, the actual area is roped off for quite a few blocks up and down the road over here, and you can see all the people gathered around that are placing things out here at the memorial. But the French Prime Minister has come out today and warns the people of France to stay vigilant, that they expect there to be more attacks. And when you hear something like that, and then you see something like this, from a military standpoint, that's pretty scary. There's a lot of people, thousands of people gathered in one spot. All it would take is for one of these crazy nut jobs to come by with a car bomb or something like that and get 10 times the amount of numbers that they did on the last one. So this is the scary fact, to see all that, that many people gathered in one area. They need to disperse and move around, understand that they want to lay stuff down, but this is only going to look like a better target for these guys if they intend to do something else. So stay tuned for more reports from France. I'm Joe Biggs with INFOWARS.com.
It's Paul Joseph Watson with INFOWARS.com in Paris, France, in the aftermath of the massacre which took place just 48 hours ago. And of course, the big story to emerge out of this whole incident is the fact that at least one, if not two, of the attackers were found with a Syrian passport. They arrived in Greece as part of the migrant wave that we've been warning about for months will lead to these kind of attacks happening in major European cities. And of course, ISIS themselves said that they would infiltrate Europe with this wave of refugees. So now we get the backlash, the justification. The president of the EU Commission, Carl Juncker, has come out and said that even though this is the case, that they abuse the system, which we've been warning about for months would happen, they're not going to change the policy. So these waves of hundreds of thousands of migrants are going to continue to pour into the country. We've got Obama, who came out in September, said that America would accept 100,000 of these refugees. We had Hillary Clinton in the debates last night saying that America should accept these refugees when it's directly led to this attack. So now we get the left-wing backlash, the justification, which is, even though this is proven, this is a direct connection, we're going to continue with the policy anyway, despite top French security experts and experts in Germany too, saying that this is going to lead not only to more attacks, but to civil unrest. So we've been proven right, this is a major issue, and now we're getting the backlash, which is, don't worry about it, it's all fine, they're going to come in anyway, we're going to vet them, and they're not vetting them. So we've got all these countries. Poland has stood up and said, no, we're not going to take any more refugees, and that is the lone voice of sanity in Europe. So for the people who thought that this whole narrative would change, that the insanity of Merkel in Germany, her mass immigration open border policy, would stop as a result of this attack and potential attacks in future, that's not going to happen now, because they're still sticking to their guns, and they will have blood on their hands. They've already got blood on their hands for this attack, and in future they will have blood on their hands for more attacks in major European cities, because now it's proven, even though they say, oh, the passport was stolen, it doesn't matter that it was stolen. It doesn't matter that the individual who carried out the attacks maybe came from Belgium, maybe came from France. They stole a passport, they posed as a Syrian refugee to get into the country, and that partly led to the massacre that followed. And yet this insane policy that European leaders are following is going to continue, and we need to continue to speak out against that and basically make the point that if you invite hordes of these people into the country, even though the vast majority of them are fleeing here for economic reasons, some of them are fleeing from ISIS, there will be that small contingent which are radicalized, which are jihadists, and they will carry out attacks. So that is the major story to emerge so far out of this incident, out of this massacre, and we'll have more reports coming soon at INFOWARS.com.
Joe Biggs here with INFOWARS.com. Now we're standing underneath the Eiffel Tower. Now this place has been closed down today due to a possible terrorist threat. Now also earlier they had evacuated the Eiffel Tower and nearby areas due to a bomb alert, which has now come out as false. But police search a nearby hotel room by room after closing the Champs de Mars underground station. The area around the Eiffel Tower has been evacuated and is heavily armed by police. And we've seen that right over here. There's a couple guys that came out actually when Mike was going through his bag right here. We're pulling out the camera equipment. The police or military, whatever they were, it's hard to tell. They came by with their guns and they were watching us with the bag right here. And if you come over here and look, it says right here, for security reasons, the Eiffel Tower is closed today, so we cannot welcome any customers. So that's something that's going on here. Threat level still high here in Paris. We're going to continue bringing you guys reports and breaking down everything that we've seen and helping uncover what's going on with this attack, what it means, and the fact that our government is nonstop pushing for wide open borders. And what we've seen in the attack on Friday the 13th is